Hi folks, Post here, welcome back to another Poem Masters video. So, the long-awaited and highly anticipated concept videos are back, I guess. Reason why we didn't have one in a while, because we just didn't have that many entries. So, by the way, if you guys do want to, make any concept entries for sync pairs, you can join the Discord, which link is in the description box below, and then you can post your concepts, and hopefully we get some more so we could do these more frequently. So, anyways, let's get into this then. So, a few changes from before. It used to be that the winners are decided by votes. I ruthlessly took away the democratic selection process. And it's basically just me picking them now. Also, I'm not going to rank them, except for I'll just pick like one best one so we could give the Discord role prize to. So there's that. Anyways, let's get into this then. So the first one we're going to look at is Halloween, Lyra, and Bonnet. Don't worry, I'll enlarge it in a second. By Chasmatic. The art is by Momoko68. So let's check this one out. Relatively large. I really do like the format though. So there's that. They also had the icon there, which is nice. But Lyra Halloween 2020. Lyra and Bonnet for some reason. One thing I do have to caution folks is the stack growths for megas. That's not really how it works. But it's alright. I just put it in the rules and notices afterwards. But yeah, anyways. As for the stats, it is the striker, ghost type striker, and HP 498, attack 395, mega is 460. Which again doesn't really make too much sense, but again, I'll just let these slide for now. Defense 185, 225 at mega, special attack 290, special defense 175, 215. At mega, speed 242 to 262 at mega. So in terms of stats, obviously a lot of attack, right? A lot of attack, and decent defensive stats, with okayish HP, but mediocre speed. As for its moveset, you got Astonish, X Attack, Trick or Treat as a trainer move, and Phantom Force, right? Same as I assume Drift Blooms. And then Trick or Treat uses 6 slots of the move gauges. That's a lot. Extends the move gauge to 8 slots for the duration of the battle. So that's really interesting. You would definitely use that at the beginning of the battle, right? When your sides are still buffing, so no one uses gauges, so you don't waste any turns on the gauges. And also you get to use this move. You would probably want to use this only if you're running gauge sports. If you're running it with a Lyra, not Lyra, a Rosa or something, right? Time to energize, get your whole, gauges max, right, with TTE. So obviously stuff like that definitely helps. But otherwise, you probably don't want to really use this move because it's pretty costly. But it depends on how long the battle is as well, right? Or if you have any, speed up units, right? X speed all units on your team, stuff like Rosanta, quickly charge the move gauge, or something like, something like with range boost, if you're running a team that just gives you overflowing just move gauges, whatever, right? So there's that, and that's a sync move. Becomes Mega Bonnet until the end of the battle. Self-inflict with the burn condition, overrides any status effects currently applied. Self-inflicts burn, so you get Gritty 5, extra 50% boost when you get the burn, and Lesser Burn 9, so you don't die from the burn. And also Aggravation 2, which is very, very high for Astonish, so very, very high chance of flinching the opponent. Honestly, you could just ignore the striking parts and just use her as a flinch unit flinch unit with Astonish, and she would be perfectly extremely powerful, right? So yeah, there's that. Again, I really like the format, and that's the Halloween Lyra that we got. Anyways, moving on to the next concept, we have Hop and Double by Byron. That's the unit art, and this is the set. Let's check out the set then. So normal type, weak to fighting, support, and a 5-star. As for the set, it has tackle, 25 power, physical, 1 bar, is basically 1 bar spam. X defense all, it's pretty straightforward. Body press, 95 power to 114, depending on how many dupes you have. Physical, 3 bars. Uses defense instead of attack in damage calculation, so you can actually do some good damage with this, because if you look at the stats, you got 830 HP, 246 attack and defense, and then you got 103 special attack, 159 special defense, and 251 speed. And then your trainer move is Command Mate, which refills half the move gauge, rounds up, and then raises the team's attack and speed. So not only do you give your team attack and speed, you also give your team X defense all, which is obviously really good for body press, right? So not only are you, making yourself relatively tanky with physically, you also give yourself a good damage to body press if you want to do that as well with the X defense also. Again, not the strongest unit in the world, but it's pretty interesting. It's a pretty interesting idea, right? As for the passives, you got Striking Sync, lowers the opponent's speed, team speed after using a sync. I would assume it's -1 for every unit. Staggering Tomb Martyr, chance of inflicting flinch with a successful move. So, if you don't want to body press, you could just spam tackle, and then you have a 30% chance of flinching with every tackle, basically. It's an Astonish or something. And then you got Embedding, defense can be lowered, so which is nice, obviously, right? Both offensively and defensively for double. Yeah, the sync move, only the best max strike. Oh, here's the thing about sync moves that folks should probably keep in mind. I do think that most, if not all, normal type sync pairs, they do have a bonus on their sync move damage just because they're normal types, right? For example, Slacking's is 300, right? 300 to 360. So just keep that in mind in the future if you're making any normal type sync pairs. Anyways, moving on. Next one, we got Singsu, Leaf, and Venusaur by I got Serena in 12 votes. Not 12 votes, 12 summons, I think. What was her name again? Let me check real quick. I got Serena, and I'm sorry, I screwed up your name. And 12 polls. I don't know why I said votes. Maybe it was because I don't know. Probably looking at something else. Let me change that real quick. And 12 polls. So basically flexing their Serena polls as their name. That's that's something, I guess. Anyways, oh yes. Oh, I forgot to mention the artist. The artist is oh yeah, that's the artist credit. You can find them on Twitter on that link, except their tweets are protected for some reason. Anyways, well, yeah, that's the artist. Anyways, all right, Singsu, Leaf, and Venusaur, 5-star special grass striker, weak to psychic, female Petal Blizzard. I can't remember how much, because Petal Blizzard, who has Petal Blizzard in the game? I think it's one of the opponent units had Petal Blizzard, right, or something. But anyways, Petal Blizzard, AoE 120, right? X accuracy, Frenzy Plant, 178 power, 4 bars, 9% accuracy, no additional effect. Blossoming Power drastically raises user's special attack, raises user's defense and special defense, lowers user's speed. If it's Mega, Venusaur also makes the user gradually heal themselves. And then as for its stats, 650 HP, 220 attack, 138 defense, 380 special attack, 150 special defense, 192 speed. Mega Venusaur stats, you get an extra bit of extra 10 defense. Goes up to 446. Again, this is not really how stats work in Mega, but anyways, I'll mention it to folks. And then 160 special defense, and then 200 speed. As for the sync move, Rainbow Palette Frenzy Plant. Oh, I like that name. Frenzy Plant. 160 power becomes Mega Venusaur until the end of battle. Passives, Antitoxin, Propulsion 1, Move Gauge Refresh 5. So the minus speed isn't that big of a, because you have Move Gauge Refresh 5. So every other move you should get +1 on your own move gauge. So Mega Venusaur X accuracy changes to Toxic. A striker with Toxic is kind of weird, but again, it's not that big of a deal, I guess. So yeah, there's that. Definitely very, very powerful. Moving on to the next entry, we got Avery and Galarian Slowbro by Byron. So for this kit, it's a psychic tech, weak to ground. They actually made 2, right? I didn't include the Clara one, but it was a duo thing that they were doing. The Clara one was weak to dark, and then this one's weak to ground, which is pretty funny. So there's that, I guess. And like their like stats are like reversed in terms of their offensive and defense stats. But anyways, back to Avery. Um, so for Avery, you got confusion, which is confusion, one bar confusion. Got potion. You got Zen headbutt. And they also have the trainer move mind blown, which two uses: raises users' defense, special defense, and crit rate. Sharply raises if an opponent is confused, trapped, or flinching, but will also lower attack and special attack. So this is a pretty interesting trainer move, right? You could try and confuse / flinch the opponent first, and then go for that. As for its stuff, Mind Storming Sync summons a Psychic Terrain after using a Sync move, which is very powerful. Aggravation 1, raise your chances to flinch or confuse there, right? And they also have Clear-Headed, so you don't get confused. And then the Sync move is pretty standard. Max Mind Storm of Elegance. 250 power, no additional effect. So that's Avery and Galarian Slowbro, again by Byron. Moving on to the one I thought was the most interesting entry here. Sydney and Absol by Stalkrox. I think that's how you pronounce it. So it's a 5-star unit, right? Or doesn't mention if it's a striker or whatever anywhere. Oh, anyways, it is a tech. But yeah, as for the stats, we got 543 HP, 343 attack, 166 defense, 200 special attack, 160 special defense, and 340 speed. So nothing really stands out in the stat department, right? But as for its moves, I got Swagger, sharply raises a target's attack and confuses them. Swagger is actually pretty bad in Masters, if they ever bring Swagger into Masters, because in comparison to like the main games, because we're battling with AIs, right? And then the opponent AI, what happens to them is, and this is the same reason why recoil is bad in Masters, because the opponent has really, really high HP. The opponent has like thousands, tens of thousands of HP, and they only do like a few hundred damage back. So if you're swaggering them, they won't do much damage to them if they hit themselves in confusion. But if they don't hit themselves in confusion, you will get hit really hard with, again, whatever physical move they're using. So Swagger is actually not that good at Masters, unfortunately. So you also got Feint Attack, which never misses, 45 power, 2 cost, dark physical, single target. Power Trip, which is basically a dark version of stored power. And then the train move, which I find fascinating. It's called You Think You're a Punk. Status AoE, 3 costs, and 2 uses. So it has both cost and uses, right? But it's very powerful. It prevents buffs from being gained on the opponent's field, doesn't touch old buffs, and bypasses stat protection. Yeah, so what you could do with this, basically, is you could use You Think You're a Punk, and then if you swagger them, they won't have their attack raised. So that's the one use. But the extremely overpowered use for this is if you run this with Serena. If you run Absol and Serena together, like, you prevent them from buffing, so you put them to sleep. Because every time you put the opponent to sleep, basically, if you put them to sleep, what happens is that they don't queue up attacking moves. They only queue up buffing moves. But if you put them to sleep and prevents buffs from being gained on the opponent's field, so they're all just using buffing moves. So basically nothing happens on the opponent's field. They don't even get the buffs. And they're asleep. So they don't do damage. They don't get buffs. And so basically the only thing happening is the sync move is countdowning, right? So this is extremely, extremely powerful if you pair this with sleep. And when it megas, it actually gains a passive called Denied and Supply 9. Whenever an opponent buff is prevented from triggering, this Pokemon gets that buff. So there's that as well. As for its other passives, it has Headstrong, Attack Can't Be Lured, and Foul Fighting 3. And then once it's at Mega Absol, you get better stats, 420 attack, 370 speed. And then you get Sucker Punch instead of Feint Attack, right? It's quick, although, it's kind of weird that it works like this. Also, power might be a bit low for Sucker Punch. But anyways, it's a quick move. Honestly, shouldn't really work if the opponent is like asleep and prevent from using buff moves. But again, I just don't think like the way they made Sucker Punch is like really that good personally. What would be an interesting way of constructing Sucker Punch is like, if the opponent already queued up moves and then you queue up Sucker Punch, it like queues up, it moves your Sucker Punch move queue to like the top, right? So you queue up the Sucker Punch before they, queue up their moves. But it has to be an attacking move or else it fails. I think that'll be a bit more interesting of a move, right? But again, this is fine. This is their idea. So, and then this raises crit chance. Their sync move. And then once you mega their headstrong, I think it's right. Headstrong turns into impervious, and foul fighting 3 becomes foul fighting 5. So, yeah, there's that, I guess. Again, thanks to everyone who entered their entries. Really good stuff. I do have a second concept video coming soon as well with a different set of concepts that I don't think were like all right, like my next concept video are like concepts that probably will never happen in the game, or anything similar would probably never happen in the game. So either like really like meme-ish like kind of concepts, or just like sort of unrealistic stuff. But we'll go over that in the next video. So anyways, again, like I mentioned before, if you guys do want to submit your own concept ideas or all that stuff, you could join the Discord, which is in the description box down below, and then you could enter them. And there's all these assets that you could use that help you create these. And yeah, again, that's it with this one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know guys think in the comments down below. Like and enjoyed this video, so our channel for some more Poor Masters content. And I'll see you guys in the next one.